Leonie Dawson show, the place for soulful, spirited women to grow, to dream, to create, to shine their own way in life and in business every single day.
Gorgeous humans, welcome back to the podcast. Today, me and Tamara. Tam, welcome back.
Hi. Yeah,
Oh.
nice to be here again. Oh my goodness, we get to chat again.
Oh, no, we're nailing this. And today we're going to be talking about a little hot topic. We're going to be talking about whether you have too many people in your business, whether you have too little people in your business, the right level of support, the Goldilocks level of support, and the red flags to look out for as well, when to know when you've got too little support and when to know when you've got too much support as well, and some of the pitfalls that come along the way. And I can share with you from being somewhat experienced on this level. I've been in business since 2004. I've been full-time in my business since, well, full-time as in I haven't worked full-time, but I haven't had any other job, and nor has my husband, since 2010. And at a certain point, we had a really large team. We had about 25-ish staff and contractors. Tam was there for that
Jesus.
experience.
Yes. I don't know if I knew the full extent of how many people you had,
It was,
but 25.
yeah, it was a vast quantity. And I've also right-sized my business so that it can now run on 1 or 2 part-time assistants. So I'm going to be talking as well as about what I think is the right estimate for how many staff you should have in your business at the different levels of income that you have. So first, let's talk about if you have too little staff in your business, aka maybe you have none except for yourself. So some of the symptoms that you might experience when you have too little staff is that you have tasks that are being left on the table that would bring in revenue or allow you to bring in more revenue, but your calendar is pretty much maxed out as it is. Or you've got some tasks that would absolutely bring in more revenue, but they are not in your skill set, or they absolutely paralyze you when it comes to doing them. So we'll talk a little bit about the exact kinds of tasks that ends up looking like, but those are the sort of questions you should be asking yourself. And a big part of this as well is that in order to bring in somebody, you need to be able to allocate some cash in your business. And if you don't have cash to allocate to hiring somebody, I want to be really honest, you don't have a proven business model yet. So you need to actually work out marketing and get more clients. Or if you are fully booked and you don't have extra funds to allocate to hiring someone, then you need to either raise prices or do an expenses review, or both. So you need to get the
both,
money
I reckon.
sorted. Yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
Do them.
You need to get the money sorted before you can bring somebody in. And you might say to me, no, but Leonie, it's mission critical that I need this role because that's what's going to save the business. And I'm like, incorrect. So some things to outsource first is bookkeeping and doing your tax. That is absolutely
100%.
mission critical. And I know some people are like, oh, but I'll just do the bookkeeping. What I tend to find is that bookkeeping can be relatively, it can be pretty affordable to have it get done. And it's something that really stymies people from growing their business because they have to allocate so many hours to doing bookkeeping and tax obligations. It's something that you don't want to mess up. And so it's so much better to actually start allocating that as soon as possible.
Yeah, and the skill level of a bookkeeper, they're able to do the stuff so much faster.
Yeah.
And so it actually ends up being really economical
Yeah.
to have a bookkeeper. Like, I've had a bookkeeper for years, don't know what I'd do without her. Like, sure, I can go in and I can reconcile, I use Xero accounting software, and I can go in and reconcile, but there are quarterly forms I have to submit and stuff, and there is no way that I want to have the knowledge to do that. No way.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer to mine's on a sort of retainer for a certain number of hours, and she just keeps track of how many hours she's done. And like maybe 3 times a year I get an invoice for, "Oh, we're up to your next block of 4 hours." And I'm
Amazing.
like, "This is incredible. I love this so much." And it's a business expense. So, she gets to bookkeep that too and make sure that that goes in the mix to, as a sort of tax thing for my business. It's
Mm.
great.
And you just like with accounts, you just don't want to fuck up your accounting. You really
No.
don't. I don't want to
God, no.
touch any of that shit. And also, like, you want to make sure that you've got a good accountant as well, because I was with a different accounting firm and then just discovered, because we moved to Canberra and I went back to my old Canberra accountants, and she was like, hey, why hasn't this particular tax thing been reported for the last 2 years? And I'm like,
Oh, God.
it what? It what?
The sinking feeling I have at those words.
Yes.
My God. Yeah.
Yes. So that's a $30,000 tax bill I didn't see coming. I'm like, oh, no.
Woo, woof-oo.
So I am so much rather just spend the money on somebody who knows what they're fucking doing and does
Right.
it correctly. And also,
Mhm.
I just don't want to get in trouble. I'm a big rule follower. I love to pay my taxes, like
Me
I'm very happy
too.
to.
Me too. I'm very happy to. But the other thing is you can go just small side quest briefly. You
We
can
love a
go
side.
the other way over this and actually delegate so much to your accountant and your bookkeeper that you don't actually keep an eye on things. And that's the other side of the coin, the other end of that spectrum is great. I've got a bookkeeper. I don't have to worry about it and I don't have to look at it.
Yeah, that's very
And
true.
that's also not true,
That's very true.
you know?
And if you feel like you're in that category, highly recommend listening to the podcast episode where I talked to Claire Wood, who is an accountant.
Yes.
And one of the things that she recommends doing is even just talking to your account, like to having a meeting with your accountant regularly, or sitting with your profit and loss statement once a month. So having that as a recurring calendar item so you know how much is coming through and your cash flow is managed. You were, as the CEO of your business, your accountant is not the chief financial officer. You are the chief financial officer and you need to be aware of the cash flow. So
100%.
very
Mhm.
important. When you get to a point where like you have clients coming in, the things are starting to get really busy. The first thing that I outsourced was emails, and having somebody to look after emails reduced my stress levels so much. And it was so much cheaper than I expected because most VAs, well, the VAs that I've worked with, they tend to record in, 6-minute or 10-minute blocks or even less. And they will just charge you for the period of time that it takes for them to like reply to emails. And the thing is, they always take way less time to reply to emails than you would if it was you, because they set up templates, they set up systems, they set like, Tam's been in our email system. She's seen it once things have gotten busier
Mm,
and she's jumped
yeah.
in there. We have our little templates and we can just go boop, boop, boop. Okay. All right. Okay. This is the
So
best way to help
quick.
people.
It is so quick just
Mhm.
having the templates. I mean, um, I remember during a really busy period when, you were like, "Can you just hop in because we are drowning?" And I was like, "Sure, no problem." Um, I got really curious because I was like, "How much time do these templates save?" And so I was timing how quickly I could get through emails with the templates. It was under 2 minutes per email.
Wow.
Like
Nice.
it was like, this is amazing. Even when, like, some templates you have to add information in, just or personalize them and that kind of thing, but they just made it so quick
Mhm.
and easy. So yeah, emails, amazing
Mm.
thing to delegate
Mhm.
if you have the resources to delegate. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And then
also the need, like, for example, my business, I don't actually get that many customer service emails. So for me to delegate emails would actually be a bit silly because,
that's
you
true.
know,
That's true.
yeah, if you're getting customer service emails though and the inbox stresses you out, really good idea.
Yeah, this
Mm.
is true. I mean, like, this is also like simple, symbolic of like the kind of business model I have, which is
Mm.
high, like, lower cost, higher amount of people through. And so
Mm.
the emails is where that gets absolutely smashed. Whereas
Oh,
if
yeah.
you have clients where you're only working with maybe a few clients a month, then your emails aren't going to be that deluge, which is wonderful.
Mm,
So having,
exactly. That
yeah,
said,
mm,
that said, I have set up templates to deal with the clients I have, and it's so much easier. So yeah,
genius.
set up your templates.
Yes, treat yourself like a VA. So even if you can't hire a VA right now, treat yourself like a VA and set up those systems, because it will save you so much time.
Oh
Even if
God, yeah.
you set a timer and give yourself an hour and be like, right, how many templates can I set up? If you don't know how to set up email templates, so for example, we use Gmail as our email suite. And so you just look up like Gmail. It used to be called canned responses, but I think they call them templates now.
They do. Yeah.
But looking for whatever that equivalent is with the software that you use, it's pretty easy to set up. And so what we can do as well is when somebody emails in a question that hasn't been asked before, but we suspect that it's probably going to start getting asked a lot more, you create the response to them, and then you click a button that says save template. And then that's automatically saved. And so when you come to answering another email, you're like, oh, there's a template for this. And of course, we always make sure that we customize it completely. We're not one of those idiot companies that just like, you asked one question with this one word in it, so we're just going to send you like the canned response back that doesn't actually answer your question. Fuck yeah. That is not what we set out to do. We always get compliments on just how well we, like, our customer service people treat our humans, because we want to treat them like, good humans that they are, and we want to treat them like the friends that they are. And so making sure that, like, even in our canned responses, we can make it highly personable as well.
Absolutely. Yes. One
Please.
thing I outsource, I realized after quite a while in business that I wasn't taking as much action as I could. And I started looking for why was I like procrastinating on things? Why would I get to almost posting on social media? Why would I get to almost publishing a blog post and emailing my list about it? And I figured out that it's because I am actually shit at graphics, really shit at graphics. I mean, after a long time at the Canva, in the Canva mines, I can come up with something that isn't hideous and doesn't offend, my graphic designer friends. But that time, it's worth a lot more to me than what I would pay somebody to do that. So I have a VA who helps me with graphics for things like my sales page graphics, my social media graphics, headers for blog posts, like the pretty stuff that, she can just do it without thinking too hard about it. And it takes her far less time than it would take me stuffing around in Canva and getting distracted and all that. And then I just get to download them and do what I want. And it is such a lifesaver. It saves me so much procrastination time. It's removed me as the bottleneck in that way. And it's so worth it for me. So that's my sort of bit. Whereas I know, Leonie, you're great with graphics. You love graphics. You do graphics. And I know you've also had people do graphics for you. So there's sort of that kind of crossover there for you. But for me, such a lifesaver. So that's mine.
It's really just asking yourself, like, what is the lowest hanging fruit here that will get me further in my business, that will actually generate revenue, that will actually generate leads, that is like mission critical to the business, and I don't have the skills or the time in order to be able to accomplish it. Now, when it comes to, like, should you always delegate? Like, I have heard so many business people over the years say, oh, you just delegate, delegate, delegate. And I want to say, like, that is horse shit, because people are expensive and it's ongoing, and you have an obligation to pay for their livelihoods. I think the whole delegate, delegate, delegate ideology works when it is somebody who is in a large corporation and they can delegate everything down, and it makes zero difference to their actual revenue because it's just such a large conglomerate. The thing is, when you own a small business and you are delegating, like, people are expensive, really expensive. Like, I've talked about, in a previous episode about reducing my business expenses by $28,000 in the space of 2 days. That had nothing to do with staffing, and I spend way more on staffing than that. And I could even spend like double, triple, 4 times that if I wasn't careful. So when it comes to delegating, you should be asking yourself 3 questions, 4 questions. One, does this task absolutely need to be done? Or can it just be deleted? Is it just busy work? Is it just nice to have? If it absolutely needs to be done, it's mission critical to your business. Can this task actually be done automatically? Is there some piece of software that can do it instead? So for example, if you were creating social media and you noticed that you wanted to cross-pollinate that, you can actually set up different systems, like software like using repurpose.io, where if you publish to one, it publishes to many. Or you could use a social media scheduler that also publishes across many platforms as well. So that will end up saving you money as long as you're doing it in a thoughtful and strategic and intentional way. Another question to ask yourself as well is like, do you actually enjoy doing that task? Is it something that you can bring a unique perspective or gift to? So for me, when it comes to writing sales pages and sales emails, I have tried hiring copywriters in the past and they can never, ever, ever convert the way that I do. And so I recognize now, like, it's actually just really important to me as a business owner that I can do that copywriting. And because I know that that is a unique perspective and gift that I can bring to it because of the skills that I've developed over time. And lastly, if it absolutely needs to be delegated, create a system around it, a standard operating procedure around it. If you're in the academy, I have a standard operating procedure workshop for you, and really just taking the time to document exactly how it's done and considering ways if there's any faster ways that it can be done, simpler ways, and in a way that actually brings you the maximum impact for the minimum effort and the minimum cost.
100%. Yep. Yep. My darling partner just in the last couple of years, through talks with his accountant, um because I'd been recommending kind of templating and making procedures around things that he did all the time, so that he could delegate things, because he was victim to what many business owners have, which is but I'm irreplaceable. Like, no one can replace me. And I was like, I bet they can. But, I'm glad that a different professional actually told him, and then organized like monthly calls with milestones for him of how many, how many tasks he would have templated by the next call. And it was amazing because suddenly he could see just how these tasks could be replicated over and over. And he got into such a rhythm of it, and oh my god, he was obsessed for a while there. It was so good.
Gosh, that
It was
really
so
turns me
good.
on though, hearing that level of
Right?
accountability. God, what
Right?
an accountant. What a
I
genius.
know.
I
I
love them.
know.
I love them.
She's so good. Love
She's,
her.
oh my
Love her very
gosh.
much.
Even for me, it's helpful, even if it's a task that I'm planning on doing over and over myself and not delegating. It's actually really useful for me to create the standard operating procedure around it. So what that means is, so for us, for example, in our business, we use Asana as our project management system, our task management system. And we also set up templates in there for things that happen all the time. So, for example, in the academy, we have guest expert workshops come out every single month. And so there's something that needs to happen with those. And so we have all of that written out. And every time we have a new guest expert come in, we can just duplicate that task and be like, okay, for this, and it automatically populates. For me, so for example, at the moment, I am doing all of our podcast editing and the videos and all that kind of stuff. And at some point, I may delegate it further down the track. But for right now, I just want to make sure that I've really nailed it, that I've got a real spin on it, that I know exactly how I like things. And I'm realizing like each week, like, oh, there's actually like 12, 15 different steps involved with this in terms of like editing, putting in the intros, the outros, and then exporting, then uploading, creating all of the titles, coming up with all show notes, publishing, all that shit. And so I'm like, okay, I actually need to create a system around this for myself. I need to create the list for myself in Asana, because then I can
Totally.
go through and tick it off without it continuing to take up this little bit of brain load in my brain. I don't want any brain load. So even when it comes
So much
now,
executive function.
so
So
much.
much executive function. You can
Who's got
save
time for
that.
that? We can save that for brilliant
You can
ideas.
save that. That's
You know,
right.
even for like sales pages, I have literally written hundreds of sales pages now. I have a template in Asana every time I go to create a sales page. Duplicate the template, go through, tick it off step by step by step by step by step, and includes every single thing I need in order to make sure that that sales page performs as well as it can. And it's all stuff that I don't have to think about anymore. And when I want to optimize, I just add to that template. So it makes it just so much easier.
Love it.
I know,
Oh
so
my God.
sexy. God
That
damn
is
it.
so good. Love a good system.
Love a good system. So when we talk about standard operating procedures, don't be like, oh, wow, that's a really big word. Like, it doesn't matter. It's just a checklist. It's just a checklist for everything that you do in your business. It saves so much stress and brain space and overwhelm for yourself. Now, another thing that I hear business coaches often say is that you should also be delegating everything in your house. And
Ooh, yes, you're right.
I have
You're right.
a more nuanced take on this. Wow, look at me. I'm not even black and white thinking. I'm
Look at
nuanced
you.
now.
I know. I'm so
subtle.
impressed. Look
Yes.
at you. Look at you. Oh, I'm so proud of you.
I know. I'm really growing up. So the first thing that you need to ask yourself is, can I insource this instead of outsourcing it? So
Mhm.
if you live with other people, husband, children, like housemates, yeah,
Partners, spouses.
spousals, can you get them to do more of those things? Like insource into your family. So for me, for example, my kids do all of their own washing and put all of their own washing away. And they have done since they were probably 7 or 8 or so. And, in the early days, they needed more help with, working out how to put shit on a line and things like that. But now it's pretty much they do it all themselves. They clean up their own rooms. They do all of the dishwasher emptying. There's a bunch of things that they look after themselves. They do their own school lunches. They're teens and tweens now, but we insource it because we don't need to bring somebody into the family to do that. And it doesn't need to go on my load as well. If you are somebody who does a lot of the cooking in your house, how can you make that simpler for yourself? So for me, for example, for years, my husband did the majority of the cooking. When I started deciding to do a little bit more of the cooking, I found the menu planning was really difficult for me for my executive functioning. And so for years, I used meal box services like HelloFresh and Marley Spoon. And we're not doing that at the moment, but I know that I can always go back to it at any point in time. When it comes to washing, I've worked out one, absolutely, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I will there's a company called The Laundry Lady here in Australia. You can book it online. Somebody comes to your house, takes your washing, brings it back in 24 hours. That's great.
Amazing.
And what I'm also comfortable with doing is I don't like doing tasks regularly. I like doing marathons. And so I've worked out if I have 30 pairs of undies, I can get through a month without washing.
Brilliant.
I know.
Amazing.
I'm a fucking
Amazing.
genius. I'm a fucking
Yep.
genius. So I went to Big W. I got a bulk packs of undies. Look at me go. And
Incredible.
And so much so that one of the washer ladies like, I've never seen somebody with so many pairs of underpants. And I'm like, that's why you only come to my house once a month to get my washing.
Because I don't need it done more than that because I have undies for all those days.
All of those
Oh my
days.
God.
I know.
Oh my
I've
God.
nailed it.
And it feels really abundant to have that many underpants.
I love
Oh my
it.
God. I have to make a note here. I'm sorry. We all just have to pause for me to make a note because I need to buy more underpants.
Undies.
Buy
And
more underpants.
I found this pair, like these packs from Big W that are really comfortable. And I've tried out like the fancier ones, all that kind of stuff. I just go back to these bog standard. They're fantastic. So Couldn't even tell you if I have a brand. I think it's just a big W bog standard brand, and who cares?
Amazing.
I got 30 pairs.
Amazing.
They're wonderful.
I'm just showing you, I have actually written buy more undies with my, I always do an A next to it to say it's an action thing that I have to do so I can see at a glance. So I've got buy more undies. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Like,
I'm going to order it online.
Who says that
I
you
don't have to
do
leave the house.
washing every week? What I end up doing is, like, we get to the end of the month or to the point where I don't have any undies left, and Chris is like, I think you might need to do some washing. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't do any of Chris's washing. He does it all himself. I don't do my kids' washing. So it's just my washing that I need to look after. And I don't want to do it every week. Like, I don't want a weekly task on me. Like, please, I'd rather get to the end of, like, my undie run and then be like, okay, well, for the next one day, I'm going to lock in and I'm going to work near the washing machine and then just keep moving things over, wait for a sunny day, go hammer and tong. And then I'll, like, my whole wardrobe will be nicely refreshed for another month.
Amazing. Amazing.
Give me-
Amazing. Yes. Incredible.
Ask
Incredible.
yourself,
And
like, yeah, go.
yeah, and like another in-source for us, because we have only fluffy pets in our house. We
Yes.
don't have anything with short hair in our house.
Terrible.
Golden Retriever, Maine Coon cat,
Jeez.
another fluffy cat. And, you know, like the fur is unbelievable. The dust bunnies breed everywhere. So we got a RoboVac, and it is set to go off 3 times a week. You know, I would have it going off every day, but it's also noisy. So I have it going off when I am not inside, and that is 3 times a week. And it just does the main living areas. It means that you can walk through without suddenly ending up with drifts of fur around your ankles. And it's so good. It is so good.
It's genius.
Oh.
We call ours Melissa. We have the vacuum mop combo one. I bought it. I got Chris to buy it for my 40th birthday. I was like, it means that we have a
Get me
servant
those
now.
home goods. Get me
That's
those home
right.
goods.
One that, because I don't want to mop. I don't want to do any of those things. And that's
I
what
don't mop.
that's what I would hire a cleaner for. And so then Melissa can do it instead. And she doesn't talk to me. And that is how I like it.
Yes, ours is called The Scutter. It's a very niche reference. If anybody listening has ever watched Red Dwarf, you know what I'm talking about.
Ooh.
And that's just somewhat, that's niche reference. Moving right on.
I love
Moving
it.
right along.
I love it.
We have The Scutter.
The
Yes.
Scutter. So those kinds of things can come in very, very handy. Also, does it really need to be done? Can you lower your expectations? Do you really need to keep a Pinterest drop-in ready house at all times? If it's something that you absolutely require for your mental health, like some people really need very low clutter, low mess environments to cope, great. Or is that angry voice in your head saying, this should be cleaner, because it's like your mum's voice, your mother-in-law's voice, or you're imagining what a guest in your house would say? Like, fuck that nonsense. Like, you should not be living your life and spending absolutely hours every week thinking about this imaginary person in your head. It's not their fucking house. It's your house, and you get to live however the fuck you like.
Now, lowering expectations, I do better when things are clean. However, my kids are, at the time of recording, 22 and 19. And they live at home, and I live with my partner and my husband, and it's, there are adults in our house.
Yes.
While their frontal lobes are still developing,
yes,
it is really hard for my young adult and my teenager to remember to always clean things or clean up after themselves and that kind of thing. So I have had to get really good at just going, they're not finished yet. It's okay. But also, I'm not going to do things for them. So I leave things, and it is a conscious effort every time. So I feel like I am using up executive function, taking myself through that. But it is also worth it because I'm not cleaning up after other adults. So, so I live with a level of mess that if it was just me, I wouldn't be living with, because I would just have a system or whatever, and I would just attach it to something else I was doing, and it'd just get done while I'm daydreaming about something else. But for this period of time where I am trying to get these kiddos to understand kind of what happens when you leave things lying around. There are going to be things lying around, whether that's a plate or a, whatever they're washing that they've done that they've forgotten and they've just dumped it out on the couch. Like, it's going to stay there. People are going to sit on it, whatever. So we're doing a bit of that at our house. My expectations are fairly low. And I have a dear 84-year-old friend, Virginia, who goes to a knitting group. I pick her up and I take her to a knitting group that we attend together. And she's hilarious and a font of information. She has raised many children. And she's just like, oh, just forget about it. Yeah, doesn't matter. Just forget about it. If you run out of dishes, wash yourself one dish, one knife, one fork, one spoon, one cup, and keep them in your room. Hide them so no one else can find them. Just bring them out, put your dinner on that, tell everybody else the dinner's over there. Not a problem. That's fine. Just leave them to it. They'll figure it out. And if they don't, there'll be rats. I'm like, oh. He's like, oh, it only happened once. I'm like, oh, God.
It's like the epitome of natural consequences parenting, right?
100%. She's like, just make sure you've got your clean plate or whatever. And,
Mm-hmm.
they'll, if they want to eat off a clean plate, they'll wash one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ooh, that's full on.
Yeah. And also, like, for me, I recognize that if I get wound up about those things, I turn into a real bitch and into a real cross parent that I am not naturally. So much so that my husband and children have a nickname for me when I get into like cranky cleaning mode. And
What is it?
They call me Sharon. Because they're like, Sharon's out. Everyone watch out. And my husband will be like, children, run. Sharon's here. Like, we must get out of Sharon's way of fire. And Sharon is not who I want to be in life. And so for me, it's thinking about like the values that I want to uphold and what's more important to me, like a gentle family life where we all enjoy each other's company and everyone feels at home at the house, or like listening to that voice in my head of what the invisible guest. I don't have guests in my house. Like, fuck off. This is my place for chilling.
Yeah.
Get you outside of my house.
That's right. Somewhere else. Thank you.
Yeah. If you're a tradesperson, I don't give a fuck. I've paid you to be here. So you can keep your judgments to yourself, mate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So lower your expectations in whatever way works for you.
Yeah. And honestly, I would so much rather this than hiring a cleaner to come into my house once a week. I've actually done that. Like, we've gone through periods and I actually don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy having somebody in my house for half a day a week. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah, I've done that too in the past. And I find it so disruptive to my well-being. I get really nervous.
Yes.
And it just dysregulates me enormously having someone that I don't know cleaning things in my house. It just feels odd.
Same.
But, I'm willing to try it again. I haven't had a cleaner for probably 10 years. So at some point I might give it another go and see. Maybe I just had a mismatch, but for now, no. I'm prone to, just kind of breaking out in jigs or songs or dances or whatever. And I want to be able to do that without feeling like the person I'm paying is watching me going, what the actual fuck is going on here?
That's right. This is an unmasking zone. We love unmasking.
Right. The unmasking zone needs to be sacred.
That's right.
Oh.
And lastly, when it comes to delegating things in your house, I think especially there's a whole lot of talk about if you want to be a millionaire, you've got to save your time for millionaire things. And yes, but no, because I always think when I'm gardening, doing stuff around the house, watering the garden, doing the monthly washing, it's like a little opportunity for me to ground, for me to think of new things and have that kind of empty space, have something happening with my hands, while I'm cooking dinner or whatever. It's rare space for my brain just to start unfolding. And, is this just an opportunity for me to feel like an English peasant in the garden, like my Victorian era.
Are you making a little dig because you know the garden is my happy place?
No, because that's exactly no, I'm not digging because that's exactly how I feel. It's like, I'm out in the garden and like suddenly I feel all Victorian, like, oh, a chill wind be blowing. I wonder if the weather will come over hasty today, like, oh, look at me. I'm pulling herbs from the garden to nourish my family with.
Actually, I say this having just come to this recording via my raspberry patch, which is currently producing raspberries, and having just sampled a few
Oh,
on my way
darling, oh,
to the microphone.
you're hyper local raspberries.
Darling, yes, we don't measure food in miles here. We measure it in food feet, darling, food feet.
The lowest carbon footprint
The
of
lowest
all.
possible. I had to walk for these. I had to walk for them.
Oh, sweetheart, the incidental
From the door to the
extra.
raspberry patch. Oh,
Wow.
gosh.
I'm very proud of you. See, and
I
this,
may
like,
need to have a small faint upon the chaise longue in a bit.
I'll bring out the smelling salts for you.
Oh, fuck no.
And I think it's a good thing to have things to do apart from sit at your fucking laptop. I don't think your best ideas come at the laptop. I think they happen in these blank space moments when you're in the shower, when you're cooking dinner, when you're wafting about your fucking raspberry patch. That's where a really big multi-million-dollar ideas come through. And I still want to protect that humanity and that grounding time, It's
Mm.
important. And
Yeah.
lastly, when it comes to whether you want to hire somebody or not, whether it's in the house, in your business, or whatever, the question that I want to ask you is, are you actually leading yourself or are you wanting someone to rescue you?
Oh, fuck off. Jesus God. I did not come here today to be attacked in this manner. Oh my God.
We all do.
Oh no. Called out.
I know. We all want to, if we just hire this one miraculous person in our business, all of a sudden our businesses will just flow so amazingly. We won't have to do any hard thing. We won't actually have to push for growth. We won't have to expand our skill set and grow our new muscles in all these different ways. We just think, oh, we'll just hire someone for that. And it's just not the case 95% of the time.
That's so annoying.
It's so infuriating, right? It's like when we talked about hiring coaches and how we just want if we hire a coach, they just bring
They'll
the
do
growth.
it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll all just happen without me having to do anything. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, do you mean I have to be responsible
Yeah.
for my own self?
Yeah. And lead yourself. And often so many people are oh, I just need to hire someone for this. And the actual hard truth of it is you don't. What you need to do is get your ducks in fucking order and actually do it yourself. And especially if you've got I think if you've got raging undiagnosed ADHD, you probably need to have a look at that. You probably need to look at some support things in place to make that happen, whether that's using, medication, whether that's therapy, that's working with an ADHD coach, whether that's setting up more systems in your life, whether that's where I've talked about resolving my primitive reflexes and expanding my nervous system has expanded my capacity so much. And then also simply are you just leading yourself in a way? Because if you can't lead yourself, how the fuck are you going to lead a staff member?
Yeah.
Hate that for us.
I'm really not enjoying this part of the discussion.
No, I don't like hearing this stuff come out of my mouth either.
However, that said, I do bang on about this quite often to the people who live in my house with me. Lucky them. Lucky them.
Lucky them. How lucky are they to have that?
So yeah, I bet you they're going to be like, yeah, you got told that time with Leonie.
So we've talked about
don't tell them.
Your secret is safe with me. Your secret is safe with me. So on the other side of the spectrum of having too little staff and needing to look at whether you need to delegate and hire people, Also, by the way, if you're like, no, I actually really need to hire a VA, Leonie, how the fuck do I do that? In the academy, I have how to hire and manage a VA, and that will give you all the details. So that's where you can find that. Now, let's move on to talking about too many people in your business, because this is also an issue. And I think because I've been very open about my journey of having to right size my business, I have a lot of business friends come to me now for advice when they get stuck in this position. Because what often happens is that our business is growing, we start hiring staff, we see like that's a blessing, amazing, I'll just hire more staff, and we keep on hiring. And at a certain point, we realize one, all of the profitability has completely dropped out of our business, or two, we are absolutely not enjoying the business anymore because now we are spending all our time managing staff. I talked to Katie Chappell about building a 7-figure illustration business on the podcast, I don't know, maybe 10 episodes ago. And she went through a phase of like, did this growth phase in her business, hired a large team of illustrators, like basically became an illustration agency. And at a certain point, she was driving along the road and she had the thought, oh, hey, if I just drive off the road right now, I actually won't have to answer any more emails,
Oh, fuck.
right? And she was like, well, that's an unusual thought. I haven't had a thought like that before. I think this might be the sign that something really significant needs to change. And so she did. She right-sized her business right back from 20 odd staff down to a very small team again, and has brought back all of her joy to it. And I remember talking to her through that experience as well, because she would like message me like, oh, I'm like, I know, babes, I know. So for me, the experience was, I did go through that. I went through having 20 odd staff at a certain point in time. This is where we were publishing the business, publishing the books ourselves and distributing, and all of the customer service staff required for all of that. And at a certain point, like my business, the hours that I had to work were going so far up. My husband and I were having to spend a lot of time each day just talking through like the latest business issue, whether it was a logistics issue or whether it was a staffing issue, because once you have more and more staff, the more chance there is of people drama, because people will either one internally have like in their personal lives have drama, or the more staff that you have, they then start having conflicts with each other. And so you're starting to manage that level of complexity as well. And then as well, once you have over a certain number of people, then you likely will need to have a manager and extra level of systems like human resources systems and all of those kinds of things. And for me, when I got to that point, I realized that I was spending so much of my day in putting out the latest fire, basically, the logistics fire, the people fires. And the stuff that I was born to do, the stuff that my business is all about, the creating and the sharing and the teaching element, that had to end up starting getting pushed to the weekends because I didn't have time during the week anymore because I was so busy being a CEO. And I never, ever, ever wanted to be a CEO. All I really wanted to do was be a creative and happened to have a vessel called a business to take that out into the world. And it was just completely not enjoyable for me anymore. And I remember sending myself off to a health retreat, accidentally sent myself off to a cult because I didn't read the website properly.
Yeah, because you were too busy fucking managing all this stuff.
Yes, exactly. And it was fine, but I remember the accountant there that I met an accountant there. It was like he was an angel. He was saying to me, Leonie, you need to sell your business or you need to close it down. And I was like, that is not on the cards for me. I need to shift this. So I right-sized it back. And over the space of a year or so, I went down from 20 odd staff down to just one VA, one full-time VA at that point. And then over time, that went down to one part-time VA. And I knew that the revenue would go down because we were no longer printing the books and selling them ourselves. But I knew our profits would go way far up because I was no longer having to spend, $700,000 on staffing costs anymore. So that was a really big shift for me, and it was one of the best decisions of my life because getting my business back to a point where I love doing it was so important. I think when people say, like, "How do you right size your business?" Like, how did you, like, do that amount of, like, reduction? One, when you get really clear in yourself that you need to make a change, often you don't even necessarily need to make that many changes yourself because people will pick up the energy around you. And I just was talking to one of my Momentum Mastermind coaching clients who was having an issue with her OBM. And I said to her, now that you've gotten clear that this is no longer the right path forward for you, one, you'll need to make a decision when you need to make a shift in that relationship, but don't be surprised if she makes a shift first. And I talked to her 1 month later and she was like, you were right. She's approached me and said that she wants to finish up. And I was like, fantastic. So that's by and large what happened to me. I did have to finish up with some people because they were like I had to end the relationship, the working relationship, and it was devastating. Like, so many tears, so much stress, so much pain, so difficult. But it absolutely was the right decision for me because it was like me saying yes to my business, my purpose, my family, my mental health, and having to say no to this thing which did not serve me at all. And therefore, I feel like when it doesn't serve you, it also doesn't serve other people's souls when it's
Mhm.
that level of difficulty.
And
So,
also, I think
yes.
we've spoken a bit in one of the other podcasts we did about hiring friends and family and the
Mm,
boundaries and that kind of thing. Um, it is actually really important to think of your business as a business. It's not a charity, it's not a hobby, it's not, any of it's not what you do in order to kind of make friends and spend time with them. It's a business. And I think that that line can get really blurred when you're a small business, particularly if you're not a straight white man. Um, you know, because you go into business with a lot more heart and a lot more soul and a lot more, you go in for service because you want to bring something to the world that helps it, but it has to be a business as well and a viable financial thing. And business decisions need to be made as business decisions. It's not a popularity contest,
hmm hmm
and I think that on both sides, when you're working for a business that is small and friendly and, you get to work in ways that suit you and all of that stuff, it can be really difficult to also think about it as, no, this is my workplace, even though I get to, be myself or, you know, work in ways that work for me and I work from home and all that stuff, it's still a professional arena where business decisions are going to be made.
Yes.
And it's it's really easy to blur that, which does make it, you know, it it's never easy
Mhm.
sort of firing somebody, I'm just gonna say
Absolutely
the
not.
words. It's never easy firing somebody, whether that's because, the relationship is broken down or because, as a business case, it just doesn't work anymore.
hmm
Like, that is always heartbreaking on all sides, unless, of course, you both suddenly go, "Actually, no, that's not working. That's great. Oh, good, it's not working for you either. Oh, fantastic.
hmm
Oh, how wonderful." Like it's just
It does happen.
it happens. It happens. But yeah, it's yeah, like I said, not a personality sort of
Yeah.
popularity contest.
And
Just,
you can't like mother everybody. You can't look after everybody. And your priority has to be on the business's sustainability.
mm,
Otherwise, it will close and like you have no option. You will have no option. So you
mm,
actually need to make the right decisions. One thing I've noticed as well that it can become like a real ego thing to say that you have more staff. Like, if you're like, oh, yeah, so busy, I've got 15 staff, so busy, I've got 30
really?
staff. Like,
Ah,
absolutely. I think sometimes it can be one, it's like exciting to say that you have team and you're the big boss.
is
And
it? God, this is blowing my mind. I'm like, because I don't aspire to have like a whole team of staff. So I'm just like, what? Really?
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
And it's also a way of indicating how large your business revenue is without saying, well, I do a $3 million a year business. If
Is
you've got
it?
like 40,
Oh,
50
holy
staff
shit.
or whatever, then you're indicating that you are not a small business. You are
Oh,
indicating
well,
that you are like empire building, basically.
oh, well, I just I've probably been missing social cues for like decades now. Like people have probably been like, she's not impressed. What a bitch. I'm like, I just didn't know they were bragging. Just like, oh, that's nice.
Also,
Do you make all
internally,
these
you'd be
people
like,
come into an office? Like, ew.
"Ooh, hate that. I don't want to be around people. That's so yucky. Not for us."
Why do you have all those people? I don't know.
And do you
No.
talk to them every day?
I know, right?
Do you enjoy that?
Oh,
I
yeah, it just baffling to me. Baffling.
I
How
have friends
fascinating.
who work in offices and they could work from home if they want to, but they go into the office because they enjoy it. What is that? What is
Oh,
not for us. Not for us, baby.
no, 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 no,
No,
no, no. I
no.
mean, I 100% support them doing that if that's what they need. But oh
Yes.
my god,
If that's what you love, like, phew, may a
go for
thousand
it.
blossoms bloom as far as I'm concerned.
But I'm not going to have any
What's
part of
on
it.
it? Now, for anyone who's not Australian, I want you to
We
know
will
that's
put a YouTube link in the
yeah.
show notes of this.
And I also want you to know that Tam and I once went on a rabbit hole down Wikipedia. So this is a quote from a far north Queensland politician. And if you're an American, you don't know what far north Queensland means. So what we mean is deep south.
Yeah, it's like the Florida of Australia.
That's right.
Like,
Deep south.
honestly.
Very deep south. And somebody was asking him about gay marriage.
So this is a politician called Bob Catter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Bob Catter this is fascinating. Bob Catter is related to Khalil Gibran, the poet. And when Tam and I found this out, we were in hysterics because there's a particular clip of him being asked about gay marriage. And his response is, well, may a thousand blossoms bloom as far as I'm concerned, but I hate spending another second on it. Not when every 3 months a person is taken by a crocodile in far north Queensland.
And he just the switch from
Flaccid.
oh well I don't mind, and I mean he used the word proclivities. Oh, people can have their proclivities, may a thousand blossoms bloom, and then in the next breath he's like, but I'm not gonna spend any time on it. Like, just the
Put the link in the
switch was
show
so funny.
notes because it
We
is
will.
a revelation. A revelation, this man. And he is unhinged. And also, like, Tam and I have discussed in great detail about it
Oh, yeah.
because he has an absolutely enormous community that he serves. And he has served it his whole entire life. In fact, he was my local member when I was at boarding school as a teenager. And his father was the minister before he took over, the local minister before he took over. And his son is now the state minister while he's the federal minister of that area. It is just the most fascinating family, fascinating history. It is
So fascinating. And they are also on different sides of politics, like his father and him and his son, and like they cover the whole political spectrum. It's
well,
really
so does he
interesting.
though, because he's
So
swapped
does he,
political
yes.
parties so many times.
He did. That's right. Oh my God, he has been around for so long that I'd forgotten he'd done that.
Yeah, no, he's part of all
It's
of them.
just so he's
Yeah,
fascinating.
absolutely.
Anyway, but
Yeah.
yes.
So that's what we're talking about. And we'll put it in the show notes, bit of Australian history unlocked. And I want you to know, like, this man is very distinct. He's in his 70s and he always wears like an Akuba cowboy hat wherever he goes. So good on you, good on you, sir. So mate, if that's where your proclivities lie in going into an office, may a thousand blossoms bloom. We shan't be discussing
right.
it anymore though, because crocodiles.
No, I am not going to spend any time on it myself.
We need to see crocodiles. Absolutely, we do. So the thing is, when you have more people in a business, the more complexity that you have, and you actually can't move as fast with more people. And that doesn't seem to make any more sense because you think if you have more staff, the faster you can move. And it's just not True. Because what it means is then people start specializing in different areas, then they need to start actually communicating with each other, and those systems need to start working together. And it's the level of like cross-level communication that needs to happen becomes much, much more challenging. Whereas if you have one or two people that are doing everything, they don't need to talk to each other because they're just doing it. They already know in themselves and they're aware of how things move. So the less people you have, the faster you can actually move. And once you start hitting over 10 people, 15 people, 20 people, it becomes more and more difficult as it goes. And you also get this, one, your profitability dives very, very far down in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. And you get the bee watching happening. So if you are unfamiliar with Dr. Seuss, there is a man named Dr. Seuss and he writes books.
Mm.
And in one of his books, he writes about a person who watches bees, and then how you need somebody to make sure that the bee watcher is doing its job, and so you hire a bee watcher, and so you've
A
got the
bee
bee
watcher watcher.
watcher, and
Yes.
then you need to make sure that that person is doing their job, and so then you need the bee watcher, and it becomes a whole thing. You know this book, right?
I really do know this book. It is what it. Yeah, we read a lot of Dr. Seuss to our kids as when they were tiny, and we still quote the all sorts of things. And sometimes I will find one of my children outside, even in their advanced stage now, and they'll be standing there looking at something, and I'll come past, probably on the way to the raspberry patch. Just saying,
Of course.
just saying.
With your Amish clothes happening.
With my little, oh, here I go to my hyperlocal raspberries.
Your linen.
Do I own any linen? I'll have to
Yes,
look up
wafting.
that one. Wafting through the garden, wafting, darling.
Yes.
And I will see one of my offspring and they will be standing and I will be thinking, gosh, I wonder what they're doing, because they won't be daydreaming. They'll be intently looking at something. And I'll say, what are you doing? And the standard response is bee watching. And I'll be like, ooh, bee watching. Do you think that you need a bee watcher? And they'll go, yes, every time. And so I'll stand there and I will hop in line behind them and I will watch them watching bees. And then sometimes whoever else's home will come past and be like, what are you doing? And in turn, the person at the front of the line will go, bee watching. And then the next one will go, bee watcher watching. And then whoever it is will go, oh, I think you need watching. So then we end up with this line of us. And I'm like, this is so absurd and I love it. I just love that we are that daggy and that ridiculous that as grown adults, we will end up standing in a line in the garden watching the bee watcher watch bees.
That is the best thing I've ever heard, Tambo. It's the best thing.
Oh,
I need somebody to come watch bees with me. Well, watch me watch bees.
yeah, that's right. That's right. So you can do that in your own time, in your own garden, but when it is part of your business and someone is just watching someone else do fucking tasks, I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Just to bring it back to the point.
Yeah.
Just to bring all of these back.
So often as well, like if you are in a online business model and like that is not product based, if you are under $1 million in online space, you should be able to run your business by and large with one or two part-time VAs. And even over the $1 million space, you should still be able to run like with a very small team. And the more that you can have generalist VAs instead of specialist VAs, like I remember at a certain point, like we'd have one VA that just does like the tech thing when we used fucking Infusionsoft. And then we have like one person who just does this. Look, that's like that adds this extra level of complexity because they're like, oh no, I don't do that. I'll have to pass it over to that person. And then we need to check if that person's done it. And then it just adds so much time and so much money to the equation. So for me, like I've gone through different waves of stuff. At a certain point, I thought I needed an online business manager. And for me, I've realized like at my income point, I can run a business from, we average around, 700 grand right up to $1.3 million a year in revenue, and 1 or 2 part-time VAs suffice. 1 is like totally doable. I find having 2 is good though, because I'll have 1 just do customer service emails and the other person doing all the rest. And then when somebody needs to take time off, the other person can do the customer service emails. So that, I mean, if you're happy, like jump in and do the customer support emails when
Yeah.
the other person's on,
Yeah.
then it's
Yeah.
totally groovy. So
It does. It works. It works.
it so works. So I don't think you need to have an online business manager necessarily. Like, so, and you can be creative about this. For me, I decided I didn't need an online business manager, because what I found is, like, I'd tell the online business manager what I need, and then she would go and delegate the task to the VAs, and wasn't necessarily doing a huge amount themselves, because they were just seeing if give it to the VA and then see if the VA would bring it back, like watching. And
Hmm.
I can just tell the fucking VA, hey, can you do this? They do it, comes back to me. And that is just the same amount of time, but it's way less money on that front. And if you need somebody strategic to talk through things, like so many people often have online business managers purely because they feel like they need to in order to talk about more strategic stuff. My question is how many hours per month does that necessarily take? Because for me, what I realize is, so Tam knows me so well that, and has a very good strategic brain. I've said to her, hey, mate, like, can I hire you to be like a Leonie strategist when I need to talk through something?
Mm.
And
Yep.
and it's only been like a couple of hours every few
Yeah.
months, really, when I've
Yep.
had something come up.
Yep. It's just here and there, and it works. And it works for both of us, because I don't want to do that
Mhm.
all the time.
Yeah,
I
no.
don't want to be locked into that kind of thing all the time. It's great when it's like, oh, yeah, let's talk, new shiny thing. Great. So we kind of hyper focus for a little bit, and then I'm off doing my thing again. It's great. So
Mhm.
good. Mm.
You can just be like, also just be, we talked about this in hiring the right coach as well in that podcast episode, but really thinking about, what do I actually need here? And is there any other options for me to do this? Because you can hire an OBM for a day, you can hire a coach, like an
You can
accountability
hire
coach.
someone to get all your systems done for you,
Yes.
and then they're done in like a week,
Mhm.
and then you don't have to do them, and you also don't have to pay that person beyond that time.
Mhm.
Like, and then you've got your systems.
Yes. It can be so much easier. Now, here's a thing that I often find that clients come to me with, and it's something that I've experienced in the past. If you feel like your business is just far too complicated and absolutely must have this one person or your business will not work, I want you to know that you are wrong,
Mhm.
and that you need to get rid of that person as soon as possible. Because we are not actually brain surgeons. We are not rocket scientists. And every single person in this world really is replaceable, especially in this space. And what I find is, the more, what can happen is, you have a VA or an OBM or somebody come into your business, and in order to make themselves irreplaceable, what they end up doing is talking about how difficult it all is, how complicated it is. I once had an OBM say to me, like, Leonie, like, your payment system is jury rigged. Like it is held on by pieces of feather and tape that I've put together manually in order for this all to process, because it's that level of complicated. And so I had
Wow.
like got to the point where I thought, oh shit, if I lose this person, I'm fucked. My payment system is fucked. And guess what? It's just not fucking true. It's just not fucking true. That person left. They left 0 documentation, and the business was completely fine.
Hmm.
So
Amazing.
the more somebody makes out that the business is very complicated, the more that person needs to leave, because businesses actually aren't that complicated. The more that somebody says, no, I can't document my tasks and create a standard operating procedure about it, the more that person needs to leave, because they are actually this huge energetic block, and they're also a massive productivity block. and they likely are blurring what they're actually doing, and you're getting charged the money and you are not
Mhm.
getting the results from it. So my answer is always you need to get rid of those people as soon as possible. I have always said to my staff, like, you need to have SOPs, like, you need to have a checklist of everything you do, every task that you do, and exactly how to do it step by step by step. Because if you get hit by a bus tomorrow and you're in hospital for 6 weeks, the business actually needs to run without you.
Mhm.
And so
And we had
yes,
that experience.
yes,
So back sort of a year and a half ago, I had what do they term the heart episode?
you
With
did have a heart episode.
Yeah, I did have a heart episode, down to emergency, in hospital for several days, big palaver. And I was doing a project for you at that point
Hmm.
in time.
Hmm.
And so I had to be like, I'm actually in hospital with a life threatening thing going on and I can't do it. And you know what? I just remember you going, "Oh, yeah, okay, mate, no problem," and hopping in and just taking over. And when I eventually got back to work, I think I took 2 weeks off just to recalibrate and, sort myself out. And when I got back, it was all fine.
Hmm.
It was all fine. And that's because there were systems in place
Hmm.
that, you know, were just there.
Hmm.
They were there. They worked. I'd been working to them. It was not so difficult to kind of step in and it was actually at a really complicated time because I think at the same time there was also one of the academy sort of prices going up kind of there's an end date here to get it at this bargain price and the price was going up. And so there was that launch happening at the same time as well.
Hmm.
So it's not like it was just a quiet moment in the
Hmm.
business. There was a shitload going on at that point. And that's when systems are great anyway, but especially if the shit hits the fan and someone gets taken out when there's a lot going on, you've got to have those systems to rely on.
Hmm. And
And it was good for me too because I could relax then and not go, "Oh my god, how is someone gonna cope with what I was doing?" Because no one knows what I was doing. Like, I could just go, "Yeah, great, I'm handballing that. I've gotta focus on staying alive." Like, goodness me, just that old thing.
yeah, and also like let's be really obvious. Like I want to be bring this up as well because so many people feel like they have to make themselves irreplaceable in order for the working relationship to continue. Tam
D
has always been like brilliant about going, fuck yeah, let's like document
mm,
the shit out of this. Does that mean that I have replaced her? No. It means that I'm like, well, we need to like, like it makes that relationship even more precious to me
mm,
because I know that the business is well taken care of because you were very happy to do those systems and that the business will be well
mm.
supported in that
I
process.
think I just messaged you yesterday going, I'm actually gonna update this system because I've noticed it's not kind of reflecting things at the moment." And I
Mhm.
just messaged you that yesterday and you were
Yeah,
like,
you
"Oh,
did.
good. Okay. Yeah, thanks. Yep,
Thanks.
let's do it."
Appreciate it.
Mm.
And you said to me, "Oh, I think it's going to cost me like take me this amount of hours, which will cost you this.
Oh, yeah.
Is that
Yeah, yeah.
cool?" And I was like, "Fuck yes, it is. Like this is amazing. Like this is incredible." So I
Yep.
love that kind of energy, insight, enthusiasm.
Mm,
And I like Tam's hospitalization is not the only like hit by a bus moment as well. Like I have had staff who have had to take emergency health leave for like
mm.
over a month and they were like mission critical to the business and there was launches going on. Like it all happens at once. And I remember at one point just laughing, just going,
Yeah.
so I'm the last one standing, but I've got my systems and it's okay. Like we will get through this.
Yeah.
So standard operating procedures are be very, very useful. And I also want you to know, even if you don't have the standard operating procedures and you have a staff member refuse to make them, fuck them off and you will be fine. You will be able to work it out. It's actually not that difficult. It really isn't. So, all that being said, this has been kind of a deep dive into do you have too little support or too much support? Do you have the right kind of support? Are you well supported? And also thinking about are you like thinking like red flag things of like, oh no, somebody will rescue me if I just hire this next person. That will fix the business. Or if I can't get rid of this person because they are the key like success point to my business.
Mhm.
So those are some red flags to look out for. Thanks, Tam, for adding your insight as useful and as usual. And I hope you continue to enjoy your raspberry patch, motherfucker.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I shall. I will. If I don't have any linen, I shall get some so I can
Oh,
waft about.
darling. And I hope
Darling.
maybe you'll even witness a lovely little bee out on the
I
raspberry
could.
patch.
I could. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Yes. Pleasure as always, darling.
oh,
Darling.
darling, darling, bye, darling, darling.
Bye.